Oh, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Monday's episode of Podcasters Unleashed. And today we'll be talking something that is very, very, very personal to all of us, and we kind of see it in different lights, different angle. So today we'll be talking about what makes you religious. So, but before we go into that, I would like to introduce. Oops, Simon is gone. Okay, he's gonna pop in back. Hasn't having technical issues. Yeah. So before we go any further, I'd like to introduce my beautiful and my beautiful co-host. Yeah, we can tell Nelson to be beautiful. Yeah, but I'll start with Nelson. Hey, Nelson, how are you?
Nelson is doing great. And yes, Nelson is beautiful and handsome, okay? Right, just like Muhammad Ali. All right, I am the host of Investing in America. We talk about how to invest in U.S. real estate and have interviews with notable personalities. All right, and beautiful Nelson, handsome Nelson, good-looking Nelson, will turn it over to drum roll to Carla. Carla. All right.
Hey everybody, I'm Carla and I'm the host of the Wonder and Wellbeing podcast, which is a podcast for parents and teachers. Can you hear me?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, it's a podcast for parents and teachers and it's all about education and wellbeing. Over to you, Matilda.
And
hello everyone, this is Matilda. I'm host of Coffee with Matilda, Journey to Self, and my podcast is about loving yourself and
I tried to make it about delivering
finding
value to
yourself.
someone else.
Over to you, Kauna.
So my podcast is Women Stories podcast, where I share real stories from women who rose above different challenges. Do you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, Hala.
Yeah, cool. Yeah,
You're just a little bit mute, but a little bit light, but it's good now.
It's always on your side, Nelson. You have technical issues. Yeah, so reach out to the podcast on Spotify and all other podcast platforms. Over to you, Victor.
All right. Whoa, voila, we've got Simon here. Hey, Simon, can you just introduce yourself and your podcast, please?
Hi, yes, Simon Rushton. My podcast is Taxi Chronicles. Like I always say, over 600 episodes. Different people from different walks of life just sharing their stories, sharing their gifts, giving that oomph of why they're happy or even why they're sad, and I'll try and cheer them up in a professional way, of course. And hopefully you guys will want to listen. It's 8 a.m. every day, even Sundays. Back to you, Victor.
Yeah, thank you, Simon. Thank you. Keep it going, guys. Yeah. So, has anything really, really interesting happened this week for any of you guys? Any success stories to share?
I've got a story. I'm not sure if it's successful. I'll keep it short. It's a legal. It's a legal story. A man's married to this lady. He cheats, like some people do, and she wants a divorce. She files for the divorce, and then during that time, he gets cancer. He gets cancer, and it's the bad cancer that you're not going to recover from. So he has life insurance, or health insurance. They award him £150,000. He takes that 50,000 of that pounds, and he puts it on crypto. He earns 60,000 in a month or so. And he also asked his wife, soon to be ex-wife, can he put the whole money up? And she said no. So he secretly took 50. Then she said she wants half of that 150,000 because they're still married. He said, well, come on, I'm dying. I'm already paying for the house, the kids and everything. At least leave me with this. She says, women's scorn, of course, no. And she goes to the court and tells the judge to stop him from spending now 100,000 left. So he goes to the judge and says, Judge, please, at least let me take 25,000 of the 100,000 left, and then we can debate over the other 75,000 later on. She in turn turns around, the judge, turns around and says, well, I don't agree with crypto because it doesn't help the British economy. so she can keep the 100,000 for now. That's going to stay on freeze. And then the wife turns around and says, yeah, by the way, even though I told you not to bet it on crypto, I want half of that 60,000 you earned last month.
This is good lesson. Good lesson for men to not cheat.
Okay, well, I
love it.
I can tell you another
Bravo
story.
to that woman.
Yeah.
No. This is a good lesson for men to not be so naive.
No.
Not be so naive.
I'm sorry, he wasn't naive when he was cheating. Come on, man.
So why is he being so
to cheat?
No.
He's okay to cheat, to destroy his family, to destroy the woman's life, the children's life, but you're picking up his naivete. His action
yes. One, because he should have made a better selection. And he didn't destroy her life.
Yes,
she's just pissed off. She's just pissed off.
That woman thought he's getting.
Okay, now see, listen. That is going to be, according to Nelson, that's an idea for another podcast. Yeah.
That's right.
I don't like cheaters, man or woman.
And that's a different kind of education. That's part two. That's a different kind of education.
Today, what we'll be talking about is what makes you religious. That's what we'll be talking about today. You get, and we all have our personal perspective or experience when it comes to religion. So, and on this show, on this episode, my intention here is just so that we'll become more aware or more clear on why and how we practice our different religion. And if at the end of the day, we all connect on a certain level within our different religious beliefs. Yeah, so my first question today would be, what does religion means to you? Simon, what does religion means to you? Because you raised your hand.
I answer that, I've got a better story, and it's relevant to what we're just about to discuss.
So Simon, wait just a minute.
It's about religion. It's about, I had a conversation with a vicar, priest, all in white, Nigerian guy, and we were talking about what makes you religious. Can I tell that story?
Okay, go ahead. But 2 minutes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Anyway, we were pointing out, he came in with his very nice white clothing and this kind of robe with a blue cross on and a silver cross, very bling, silver jewelry and like fancy see-through glass. I've never seen glasses like that before, and leather coat white thing, but he's all white. So I said, oh, we got the holy man in here. And he said, oh, don't be like that. And then as we started to talk, we talk about kind of what makes you religious and what turns people off and what turns people on when it comes to religion. And then I made a comment, well, Jesus talks about being humble. And he said, and he was wearing loincloth. And he said, well, that was expensive back in the days. And I said, well, probably not, because it's from that region. So he went quiet. And I said, what a lot of people, when they see a preacher and he's all dressed up, I wasn't talking about him personally, he was all dressed up bling, they don't see that as religious. They see that as like, you're going to take my money, you want my 10%. And so he said, which was an interesting reply, what if you can't help but not be bling? And I never thought of that. And why I bring this up here is because religion comes from many different places in the world, if you want to date back. But for us as Black people from Africa, we had our own belief system and we had our own culture. And in that, like, for instance, if we look at the Nigerian culture, it's very flamboyant. Everybody dresses like a king or a queen. And if you look at the Jamaicans or the Caribbeans, we are like the Nigerians because we come from them. And we're very flamboyant, but in a different way. So being humble is not in our DNA. So what makes you religious when it comes to dress sense, in his eyes, he can be blinged out as he could be like a pimp looking, which to me he did, to be honest. But he's still very religious and he wants to stand in the pulpit and talk to other people. So that was my little story there. On the basis of what I think makes me religious, it's more about my personality, because going back to a little discussion I had with the man, I said, when he said, how do you talk to people like you? He's talking about people like me. And I said, well, you don't, because I want to see how you are through your actions, not how you dress, not thing. And if I admire how you are, I will find you to talk to you if I have a problem. Apart from that, leave me alone. And that was my thing about what makes somebody a religious. It's basically the way you conduct yourself, not what you tell me and not what you tell me you do or I should do. It's the way you conduct yourself. Do I admire that or do I not?
Okay. What do you think? What do you think? Do you agree with that, Carla?
Yes and no. I think I do agree with what you're saying about conduct. I think conduct is a very important thing, and I think it's often overlooked when people talk about religion. I think there is an element of spirituality and an element of belief, but sometimes you can prove by your actions that your belief is not as deep as you claim it to be. And also on the point of culture and how culture can sometimes overlap and affect the way that people live out their values. I think that's a really important thing, because I think sometimes what happens is one particular culture may have one way of demonstrating a particular characteristic, but in another culture it might be demonstrated in a different way, i.e. in dress. Because I agree with Simon, when I went to church as a child growing up, our church was a predominantly Jamaican church, and it was tradition there to dress up for church. So there'd be hats and dresses, and you turned out looking your best because you were doing it for God. That was the theory. But actually, as you got deeper into it, you realize that a lot of people weren't doing it for God. They were doing it for other reasons. But then when I've been older and I've gone, let's say, to a church that's more full of English people, you will find English as in white English or white middle class. You will find them not dressed up for church. And actually, my kids were shocked when they first went into what we'd call a white church, because people were wearing jeans and they just turned up in whatever they were wearing. My kids were like, is that how they go to church? Because they were shocked, because they see that as just not acceptable, because it's not dressing your best. So I think all those things do play into the way that people think about and process and maybe even judge. I think judgment comes into it as well. Sometimes people compare, but they compare for judgment purposes, which will probably come up a little bit more later, but I'll hand it back to you. So I agree a little bit with what Simon's saying, but just elaborating as well.
Oh, speaking about how people like dress up and conduct themselves, let's go to Hala now. Hala, I know you are from a different religion, and you can say the religion you practice. And do this kind of conduct? How does the conduct in your own religion come in?
Well, it's very interesting to hear different points of views about religion and how people dress. Well, in religion, actually, in Islam, the most important thing is to dress nice and clean. But in all of the culture, especially in Arab culture, everybody wants to show their best and look their best, I think, like everybody else. But yes, and in every country, in every tradition, you have different ways of presenting yourself, and different ways of presenting yourself with traditional clothes. So it's very different from country to another. Even if they share the same religion, we have different kind of culture and tradition. If that answered the question.
Yeah, see, we all have different reasons. What, Matilda? What does religion means to you? Because I know you have some very like different. What does religion mean to you?
To be honest, nothing special. And I'm gonna say I feel, and I'm gonna explain this a little bit more. I'm not impressed if someone is telling me they're religious. For me, I mean, okay. For me, their humanity is very important throughout the history of humankind. Throughout, I mean, my life, I met a lot of people that they are not religious, but you've seen lots of humanity in them. You've seen some people, I've seen some religious people that I didn't see humanity in them. They didn't value other people the same the same way. So I don't value in religion per se. I don't think just because someone is religious is a very
Yeah, what
good
do you
person
what?
or bad
Yeah, what does
person.
that mean? What does that mean? Because you say if you see someone that is, what does that
I
mean?
think religion is important in certain people. I think in life, at the base, you need an anchor, you need a philosophy, a value system to believe in. Because when the tornado in your life begins, when there is a hurricane, when you have to make a very important decision in your life, you always have to come back to your belief system. You have to always come back to your value system and your principles in life. Some people get these principles from their parents. Some get it from a philosophy. Some get it from religion. Some get it from, I don't know, a mentor. You need that philosophy. It depends where that is coming from. And I wouldn't value the religion that much. For me, to believe that, for example, to read Bible and to think that Virgin Mary was virgin to get pregnant with Jesus is a little bit. I feel like for my intellect is a little bit questionable, but it's nice to learn the stories about the religion. I think the philosophy of religion is important. I don't think human being can survive without a religion, and even if the 5 religions will disappear in the future, I'm sure human being will create another types of religion because they need an anchor to come back. There was in the book of Harari, he talks about the first god or the first thing that humans start praying to. It looked like a lion, like a human head of a lion. And it's interesting, we always look for superior power to connect. I think that's about it.
Okay, I'll come back to you on that because you mentioned five religion. So before we go back to the Nelson, let's just get some clarity, some acceptable definition of what religion is. What is religion, Nelson?
Just to jump in there quickly, we got a comment from Thomas. Thomas, nice to have you back here, Thomas. Great to see you always. I love and respect all religions, yet there was one man who was true love. He learnt it from his mum, and he would rather die for love than live in lies under evil. That man was right. Which man is this you are referring to? There's many men who are named for different religions, Thomas, but we'd be interested to hear what kind of man. Back to you. I think it was Nelson.
Yeah, Nelson. Before you tell us what is religion? Yeah, Thomas, I would like to get your perspective on what religion means to you. So if you can just tell us what religion. I like that you respect all the religion, but can you tell us what religion means to you? Yeah, go ahead, Nelson. What is religion?
Okay, so we're going to take a look here at what the book says. And I'm not talking exactly about the good book, this Merriam-Webster. So what's the best way to define religion? A set of beliefs concerning the cause, nature, and purpose of the universe, especially when considered as the creation of a superhuman agency or agencies, usually involving devotional and ritual observances and often containing a moral code governing the conduct of human affairs. That is the best way to define a religion. Kind of the purpose, something bigger than ourselves, something superhuman, supernatural, involving devotional and ritual observances, such as what was talked about here, the Sunday, going to church on Sundays, dressing up, devotional, and often containing a moral code, such as what we just spoke about right now, with this woman trying to rake over the coals her poor ex-husband with cancer, governing the conduct of human affairs. We'll just leave the affair.
Poor ex-husband?
Okay. So
I don't understand where is this coming from. Nelson, you have better values than that. Why poor husband? The guy cheated on him.
He's got cancer.
Oh, why? Is that important? His action as a human being, he cheated on the wife and the children.
Some
And he's
people
trying-
may say, Matilda, some people may say, what is your core values, your Christian or whatever values? Even though someone's done you wrong, do you have to punish them? To what extent? And is it your right to punish them? Now, I don't know if this lady was religious, but some people may say that. But back to you, Victor.
I'm sorry,
And
the
his
other
cancer-
lady that he was enjoying his time, maybe she should take care of him. How's that?
Well, if he keeps on attacking her, she may end up getting that money. Victor, back to you.
Oh my goodness! See, funny how religion started going spirally down into cheating, and the core values is there. Let's use the V word now. The core value is there, but religions or not, no religion has ever supported. I would be crucified for this, but
No pun intended.
none of the religion that I'm aware of has ever supported or has the word cheat on it, Matilda. So, what are you talking about? Anyways,
Sorry, what? They don't what?
I said no religion has ever persecuted anyone for cheating.
Okay, hold on a second. Aren't there a bunch of people in the Bible?
Let him without sin cast the first stone.
Okay,
So
that,
medieval and biblical on Victor, but that is when Jesus saved the whore from being stoned. Well, not the whore, she's adulterer from being stoned. Matilda's looking bewildered. She clearly doesn't know the Bible. Basically, Matilda, this mob in the biblical times brought this woman and they're ready to stone her for cheating on the husband. But they're saying, well, where's the man she cheated with? That was one of the questions. The other thing was, I think Carla's going to quote me on this, is let him without sin cast the first stone, because they all went to pick up stones. And then they all paused and they dropped the stones one by one and walked off and we get it tomorrow. So they didn't say that.
I don't know. I don't think.
But anyway,
anybody
sorry,
can,
we've got another comment from
support
Thomas.
lying and doing bad things to another person that you love. I don't think they support that.
Okay.
But
Thomas says it's a good thing so much bad has been done it's a good thing so much bad has been done in its name, but it is good thing. We all believe in God, and that's the way my mum's the head of my religion. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I think we're a bit more confused than we were at the start, Thomas. Is your mum? Well, I don't want to be disrespectful. I'm thinking because I think it's better you elaborate more, Thomas, more than I pass a comment and upset you. But yeah, back to you, Victor.
See, different religions, they have different value system, and I know Carla is very big with values. So Carla, in your own religion, how does these values being demonstrated in your own religion?
I think I'll talk a little bit before that, just to add a little bit of context, because I think this will open the discussion up a little bit. So when I was a child, I grew up as a Christian, but I say that loosely in the sense that my parents claimed to be Christian and took me to church for a short period of time from the age of, say, 9 to 13. And they had imposed on me that I was Christian, or that was what I should choose, and that was the right way to be, or that was the right religion, which a lot of people do. When I grew up, I had nothing to do with religion at all. I didn't want anything to do with it because of my experiences, and my experiences weren't positive, or the way that I perceived them was that they weren't positive. So I chose for myself to explore different religions. And when I went to live in the Middle East, it was the first time that I have ever had a deep inclination inside myself to be a religious person, if that makes sense. And at that time, I chose for myself to follow Islam. But what I learned when I followed Islam is then it completely changed my view of Christianity, if that makes sense. Because what I then found is that there was a very close relationship between Islam and Christianity, much more than what people were saying. So there was this massive divide in the world at that time. It was after 9/11 and all of that kind of stuff. And the way that the narrative was being pushed is that Islam and Christianity were poles apart from each other and didn't really have that much in common. And while there might be differences between them, there is a huge area of overlap. And so what my experience with Islam taught me was how to be a better Christian, if that makes sense. And what I've often said to people afterwards is people often framed it as, you left Christianity to become Muslim. But later what I said to them was, no, I didn't. I learned all the good things about Christianity from Islam. And when I got into discussions with people and I explained and elaborated on that, they were then able to see that actually the things that we share are more important than things that we don't share. So I've had quite an interesting journey. Now I would call myself Christian, but I would say that I'm only able to call myself Christian because of what I learned from Islam. So I hope that doesn't sound very cryptic, but I hope it opens up the discussion with people, maybe with the audience as well, to share their own experiences, because sometimes it can be difficult as well to discuss with people the idea of changing from one religion to another, or for seeing similarities in religions, or making bridges between religions because of this idea of, if you're Christian, then you're Christian. If you're Jew, then you're Jew. If you're Muslim, then you're Muslim. So that was a bit of my experience. And in terms of values, or the core values of the religion, in Christianity, I have the 10 Commandments, which if you look at them carefully and you understand them for the values that they represent, which Matilda mentioned earlier, values around morality, values around how to treat your fellow human, how to behave in a community and things like that. You will find them also in Islam, but they're framed in a different way. And you will also find, I'm sure Nelson will probably elaborate on this, but the 10 Commandments are actually Jewish commandments, which again is going to sound very cryptic, but anyone who knows the Bible knows that the first 5 books of the Bible are the foundation of the Jewish faith, which was later built upon as by Jesus, by the person that we know as Jesus, to develop what is now called the Christian faith, which Jesus never called the Christian faith, which again is very cryptic. Basically the 10 Commandments are the principles there. And when Jesus came, Jesus simplified the 10 Commandments into one, or what some people call 2, which was to love God with your whole heart, mind and soul, which sounds very simple, but when you break it down is not. And also to love your neighbor as yourself, which again sounds very simple, but is not. So you can shrink the 10 Commandments down into 1 or 2, and that's what they were summed up as. And they're the core values. And that's where you get all of the different practices and behaviors, moral behaviors. For example, things like prayer, worship, setting aside time to read, reflect on God, all of that. Those are things that you would do if you do love God with your whole heart, mind and soul, because you couldn't claim to love God but not do anything about it. And the same as your neighbor. If you love your neighbor as yourself, you will not cheat, you will not lie, you will not steal, you will not do anything to your neighbor that you wouldn't want to be done to you. So that's in essence what the core of the Christian faith is. So yeah, back to you, Victor.
Unmute yourself, Victor.
Yeah, I see Matilda lifting up. Matilda, what do you have something to add to that?
Yeah, I was thinking, why shouldn't we have different experience, different religions? Why should we one person stick to one religion, you know? For me, that was the question. When Carla was saying, oh, people might think that, oh, I was Christian and then I went to practice Islam and I came back to Christian and people were judging about it. And I'm just thinking, why should we stick to one? We have to...
I think it's the label. I think it's the label.
Huh?
I think it's the label that is like, you just get a sticker and, oh yeah, I'm a Christian, oh yeah, I'm a Muslim, and that's it.
Yeah, I think it's nice to learn. Every religion can teach you beautiful things, beautiful way of life. And why we have to say, oh, we are Muslim. I mean, you're a human being and maybe you're learning certain lessons from Islam. Christianity can teach you a lot of things. Judaism can teach you beautiful things. And oh yeah, come here, Buddhism can teach you very nice things. So while I learn from everyone and become a whole human being, you need to become a good human per se, not necessarily a good Christian or good Muslim. Be a good human and do good things to yourself and to others. I don't
But
understand.
are these not the core essence of almost all religion to be better? Hala, is it
Yes,
not the same?
I just want to add something because we talk about set of beliefs and everyone have their own beliefs, but actually religion is a method to turn inward into yourself, and it's not reduced in only a set of beliefs. I mean, religion is about changing oneself and to be for a better person. And when you come to the essential of all religion, they are built to become your best version and to be the best for the neighbors and to be your best. And that is what is the essential of all religion. If you come to the essential of all the religion, because now when you see people, when you have the conflict, people they try to impose beliefs on other people, and that's why you have conflict. But I think we need to learn more to disagree in a respectful way if there is a disagreement between some practices or some sects, but should always be that respect about different beliefs. And I think if someone has done the work inside themselves and they have understand their religion, they won't impose it to someone else. And that's what's the problem. It's the problem is there is a conflict. And it's not about a good and evil, but rather one man's belief versus another man's beliefs. If that makes sense.
What I would say in relation to what Howell is saying there, and I understand what Howell has come up, going for that conversation I had in the car with the holy man or whatever you, it's people like to be safety in numbers. So you affiliate yourself with a group. I remember when we was in school, there's a funny story about two groups of people who went to war because one group of people cracked the boiled egg from the pointed end, and the other group of people cracked it from the round end. And they said, "How can you do it from the pointed end? That's so terrible. You should be like us." And regardless, and right, all jokes aside on that, but regardless how inner being you may feel, if it really works for you, a lot of people feel compelled to want to share that blessing, share that gift, share that thing, and then they naturally find themselves wanting to say, "You should," it's like if you won the lottery, you got you got some algorithm at home that can win the lottery every time. You're going to share it with your loved ones. You're going to push it on them, say, "Yeah, come on, you should try this, you should try this." And that's how that's what I personally believe, that people see beliefs, their belief system, and then it just blows up from there because people say, "No, my way's the right way. No, my way's," and this gets silly. It gets silly. But I will add this. If you look at I used the example of my ancestral going back to Africa. The Muslims brought Islam at the point of the sword. The Europeans, the white man, brought Christianity at the point of a gun. We already had our own belief system, and it was working for us. Why is it working? Because we're the first people on the planet. And we didn't have any world wars, and we didn't have half of the issues that we have today. So is it human nature or is it something else? I can't really tell you. But what I'm saying, that there has been things before that were okay. And consider this. Cleopatra is closer to the iPhone than she is to the Egyptian Empire. The old, Mesopotamia and all those things. So in that space of time, that 2,000 years time, a lot has happened. And maybe that's changing our nature and changing the way we are. I do not know. But back to you, Victor.
I get what
Victor, 1 second. Just to kind of further paraphrase what Simon just said, Cleopatra is closer to the iPhone than to the pyramids. Okay.
No, not pyramids. I'm talking to the beginning of the Mesopotamian time. The Egyptian Empire is 5,000 years old. Yeah. Do you understand? Mesopotamian, land of Kush, the Sudanese, what we know as Sudanese or the Nubians. If you go back there, because Cleopatra was at the ending of the dynasty, not at the beginning, not in the middle. Are we okay with that? I see a little smirk on your face. Are you okay with that?
No. Yeah.
Okay,
We're
then.
good. We're
Back
good.
to you, Victor.
We're good.
Yeah, go ahead, Matilda.
I think we having different religions is not going to solve anything. Oh, who we are kidding? Look at the human history. How many millions of people died in the name of God, in the name of religion? I think it's actually a problem for our world by us emphasizing on religion, or people saying, "Oh, Christianity is good," or Islam is good, or Judaism is good, is actually causing a lot of division in us. We have to find a way. I think the new religion, I'm actually excited in the new way. The new religion should teach people humanity, because I really don't understand if religion is not your humanity, what kind of a religion you have. Let's look at 16th century, 15th century Christianity, what they've done. Catholics versus what's the other one? I forgot. Protestants. How many millions of people died? Look at Islam, Shia, Sunni. They're killing each other like you cannot even think a human being is capable of doing something like that to another human. And then we call this religion. I'm sorry, what on earth? What are we doing? Or look at how how Buddhism dealt with the Japanese and China war. I mean, the brutality of it, you cannot name it any religion. So I don't know that's why I don't have respect towards religious concept, because brought so many division to humanity and how humans connect with another person.
But Matilda, has it? I hear what you're saying. Has it occurred to you that a system could be good, but people just use it for bad?
I think something in this system is failing. All these 5 religion is failing. That the human don't feel that connection with another person. There is a division part. I think, however you emphasize, countries are always the same. When a country talks about, "Oh, I'm the best, I'm doing the best, this is my country," you bring a division in the system. That's how Hitler managed to do what he was doing. He was keep saying the Germans are like this, our blood is like this. You start feeling bad, you start feeling disgusted because you're being brainwashed towards other nationalities. Religion is the same too. I think these 5 religion, which there's a lot of respect and you can learn a lot of lessons from them, also fails by human nature, that doesn't teach something these humans to be one and be peaceful together. Give me an example of an era in the world that we were all happy and good, everything was good, and we were living together.
Well, when you say we,
I think currently we are living. Currently, we are living in that. Yeah, go ahead, Simon. Read the comments.
Okay, Sasha is here.
Hello, Sasha. You're late.
Sasha, yeah, you're late. Humans are slaves about their emotions. Totally agree, Sasha. Life has no real sense or explanation. We just try to find one to live better. We need belief systems to survive intellectually. That's an interesting statement. I partly agree with what you're saying there, Sasha, because what I'm trying to say in response to what Matilda's saying is that it's not necessarily the system, it's people. You can get one bad person who's in the wrong position and they can abuse, and then people follow that. Some people follow that trend. Politics of England is quite like that. We have some people in power now, and there's lots of corruption going on. They're naming it sleaze for other reasons, but that doesn't mean our political system's broken. It means there are certain loopholes, and you're never going to close all the loopholes that people are exploiting.
Maybe Simon, maybe it's, you see, I won't say it's an experiment of what Carla did when he kind of like, when he went to Qatar and started practicing Islam and saw that, okay, there's so many things that actually link us together than what really divides us. So, which is what Matilda is saying from the outside. Oh, this is going on, this is going on, this is going. See, there's always human conflict. Nelson, you fought in wars, or I don't know, you fought in, you were a soldier. Have you been in one of those, go kill them because they are this?
I mean, come on.
You cannot answer.
I mean, can you rephrase that question? Maybe I didn't hear it correctly.
Next
I'm not
question, maybe.
Yeah, next question.
No. Let's.
Okay, I'll come back to you on that. Carla, you mentioned some negative stuff about your experience when it comes to Christianity and why you just like up and leave and left. What are those negative experiences? Maybe we can learn something from that.
The negative experiences are when, I'll sum it up as when people see religion as a means to improve that person and that one and that one and that one and that one rather than this one. That's when you get issues. So that is what you find more than anything. You find people who pick up a belief system and then they want to use it to transform everything that annoys them, everything that hurts them, everything that gets in their way, everything that is hardship to them. And then they begin to look at all the people around them that need to be fixed. And they start using the religion to do that. And they do that through judgment. They do it through criticizing. They do it through hypocrisy. They do it through killing. As Matilda said, to the extreme, it goes to look at that whole group of people over there. Let's get rid of them, because if we got rid of them, then our lives would be easier, because that's really what it's about. Human beings have this incessant quest to avoid suffering. And it starts with the individual and then it spirals outwards to a family that wants to avoid anything coming in their door that's going to make them suffer, to a whole neighborhood, a street, a community, a country, and it gets out of hand, doesn't it? And I think that was what I saw. I saw people who are more interested in fixing others than fixing themselves. And also people who think that aspect of religion is more important than the peace within their own soul, because you can never have peace in a nation if you don't have peace inside the individual souls of the people, because eventually that manifests itself in society and in the environment around you. So that was it in a nutshell for me, Victor.
Okay.
To jump in there, we've got some comments coming in. We've got Thomas. Jesus was love. I believe in everything that is good, and he was the first thing that said to evil no. I love him for that. So obviously he's a Christian. Sasha has gone on to say corruption is a part of human comedy. There's no perfect system. People are just trying to survive. I'd agree with that, Sasha. He also goes on, we are all weak and we all need references and boundaries to live together.
Bravo, Sasha.
That is interesting, because there's a professor who says as human beings we shouldn't live no more than 150 to a group, because that ensures pure, crystal clear and accountability. And we've got Paula. Nice to have you here today, Paula. It's fear they preach. I agree with Matilda. I'm Catholic, was brought up in all-girls school, ran by nuns. Fear was how it was ruled. Now, I'm interested to hear from that, Paula. Do you think that's because of the period of time? I don't know your age. And do you think it's still the same today, how they run Catholic schools with the very PC world? I don't know if you're in a Western country. But we'll be interested to hear from you on that. And the last one is Sasha. Religion or politics is about control, systems, nothing else. There's only one reality, the balance of powers. And that coincides with war, I believe Matilda or Carla was saying, is that why do we have to be a certain way? And no, sorry, it was Carla, where at the end of the day, it comes down to if a group of people have something and we want it, we can justify go and get it on the basis of religion because they're not the same group as us. And they should be. So we're going to go and help them.
And we can get that work blessed too as well, which is probably some not very nice stuff that that group is about to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Okay.
Nelson, if according to Sasha, we're all trying to survive and live in a harmonious society, maybe 150, maybe more than 150. But I don't really know. I can't really pin what religion that you really practice, but the religion that you practice, what are the things that you think you have in common with the other religions that you know about?
Okay, just to clarify, you're asking me or asking Simon?
I'm asking you, Nelson.
Okay. All righty. But wait a minute. We got a comment came
All
in
right,
here.
then let
Simon,
me
it's
read the
yours.
comments meanwhile, and then Nelson, you can hold that thought, and I'm sure Victor will come at you again. Samantha, yes, Samantha Cunningham, lovely lady. Who's right, who's wrong? It's not important. The question people need to ask themselves is, what is your connection with God you serve? It's spiritual, not just reading a book. In all faiths, there is good and bad. Just like everyday life. The question is, do you have a true connection with the God you serve? Very interesting. Very interesting.
Exactly.
So Nelson,
Nelson, you want me to repeat the question or you okay to go?
If you could please.
Okay, I'm saying in the context of what Sasha said in one of his last comments, that we are all trying to survive. So I don't know which religion that you practice. I can't put a pin on it, but whatever religion that you practice, what does your religion have in common with other religions in the spirit of we all trying to survive?
does he practice a religion is the question first.
Well, my religion is called survival. So
US dollar.
Huh?
The US dollar.
Yeah. So no, I guess the first thing is it's a series of value systems as to be able to guide life, right? Have a series of value systems to be able to guide life, and that's how pretty much I take it. Is that what's my connection to the Almighty, and can I draw faith, energy, guidance, resilience from that, and to make a better decision-making process. So that to me, it's like so that's how I see it. How will it help me?
Nelson, do you do is it Buddhism? Is it what's it called? Scientology? Is it Christian? Is it what? Just let us know.
Scientology.
It's and you know what? I have gone to a Scientology church and I have books here and there.
It can bring our show more exotic.
So, but what I see is, to me, it's I go to a Christian church, I go to temple, I go to all these different places. First of all, from a family aspect, I go. But then I'll put it to you like this. Once I was going through a very difficult time in my life, very, very difficult time. And my uncle said, come to temple. I was like, really? And he said, Nelson, he said, the other Jews there might care. He said, but God, he don't care. He said, God doesn't care. He said, those other Jews might care, but God doesn't care. All God knows is that you got a problem. So come with me to temple. So with the temple, 6 o'clock in the morning, then afterwards you worked out. He said, now you're ready to handle whatever else you need to handle. Because God doesn't care. He just wants to see that you do better. And that's kind of like my guiding philosophy on that.
That
You know,
God
the
doesn't
different
care.
little- No, he doesn't care that this guy's a Jew, Christian, Buddhist,
Oh.
whatever. He said,
Okay.
what he does care is he doesn't care that you're this religion, that religion. He really doesn't care. What he does care about is how are you doing and how are you handling things. That's what he does care about. So again, that's why he said, come with me to temple. He said, and I said, well, what about the other guys? He says, God doesn't, he says, those guys care. Those guys in the temple care. But God, he don't care. He does not care what they think about it. He doesn't care what your faith is. He cares is that you care. And he's concerned about you, that you can handle whatever challenges you need to handle better.
That's
Okay.
interesting what Nelson's saying there. It brings back a thing when I used to be a born again, believe it or not. That they used
What
to have
were
a saying,
you?
a born again Christian. It's like Pentecostal. Oh, all right, Matilda, I'll explain. Explain. Look up Pentecost. We can explain it later. But there used to be a saying.
Being born again, Matilda, being born again is someone who just wants to like turn a new leaf and just be spiritually more aware of his current situation.
It's like
Yeah.
if you're an alcoholic and you decide you're not going to drink alcohol anymore.
And you go to AA meeting.
Yeah, you're a new person now, and you're saying, no, I don't drink. It's not me. It's a new me. But what the saying is when you're doing something, somebody's asked you, if Jesus came into the room now, would you want him to catch you doing that? And that always used to be a showstopper. Because it's like, oh God, you had to go there, did you? Well, put it down then, or I'll leave her alone, or whatever the situation is. Yeah, it's very. It's like
Hala,
your parents.
yeah,
Oh,
Hala,
we got some comments. Sorry, I've been babbling. Sasha says the question is, what is God and who is God? Very interesting. And we'd like to hear from you, Sasha, on that note. What is God and who is God? Please give us your thoughts. Paula, still the same today. My aunt is Catholic, goes to church every day, prays to God, and is the most cruel, evil person I know. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Paula. And just to let everybody know, that's in reference to an earlier question when we asked Paula, do you think the Catholic Church, is still the same today? And then Thomas, it's all love. I have no religion. If you're good, I'm with ya. Okay, nice. Good to hear, Thomas. I'm with you too. And I'm sure the rest of the hosts are. And back to you, Nelson, Victor.
So, Hala, we've discussed about some core values of other religions, and it's good that Carla said so many things about how she saw Christianity in a different light through the eyes of Islam. Yeah, but I would say I'm deaf when it comes to other religion. I don't know anything about Islam except what I've been not taught, but what I've just maybe read or passing through about the holy man Muhammad. That is it. I have no other idea. So, what would you say? What are the core essences of Islam?
Well, we can just make it short and talk about the basic of Islam, the 5 pillars, which is basically could be similar to Christianity too, which is giving a portion to your wealth to the poor, praying 5 times a day as a form of meditation, fasting, declaration of faith that there is one God, and also what we say is the pilgrimage, if it's possible for the person to do it. So those are the 5 pillars of Islam that could be a little bit related to Christianity as well. But I think too that God created this earth, he created humans, and he created also disagreements. And whoever wants to end the disagreements between different people is unrealistic. because you can't end the disagreement until the day of judgment, because we have built here with different religions, different nationalities. Even in Islamic religions, you have different sects and you have different forms of belief and practices. And disagreement will always remain in every society. And I think is when your heart is pure, it won't affect you the disagreement and the ideology of different person, because you're going to respect that different person even if they are different than yours. So yes, that answers the question. Yes, Matilda.
Yeah, Matilda, there will always be disagreements.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah.
interesting because in Jewish religion, they say when God created humans by his picture, and everything was beautiful, so obviously very good qualities in a human being, he put some salt of evilness in humans to create this excitement as well. It's like how, and they believe it. They say like when you're making a soup, at the end you just put a little bit of a salt, a little bit of a evilness in the salt to just create that that environment.
Are
And
you saying evil is exciting? Or is that what you're saying?
that
And good is boring?
evilishness, not like very bad, but the evilishness. So the God gave men that evilishness as well. So the dark and the light is all combined. It's all
Where did you get this from? What religion did you? What religious
in
text did you get
Jewish.
this
In
from?
Jewish.
Oh,
So,
Yeah.
so,
Actually,
so,
Alan Watts, if you listen to him as well,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's really good.
he
He's
talks
really
about
So-
this as well, and he has a theory about it, and he talks about human beings when they create something, they're in the train of thought. At the end of the train of thought, he has the ability to destroy that as well. So whatever a human creates has the ability to destroy it as well, and that's why we have the world like that, like this, and that's why we will never have a perfect world. That's why we will never have peace, because humans don't have that capacity.
well, I mean, well, I mean, okay, just one thing, you know. I mean, a lot of this thing, it depends on how we're looking at it, right? Because I would say we're living in one of the most peaceful times now, right? And someone said, "What do you mean the most peaceful times?" If you look at in the past, we had world wars, right? I mean, we had the Crusades, we had world wars, we had massive famines, we had massive pandemics. And now we have weapons that can obliterate all life. So if you want to kind of keep it into perspective, now compared to times in the past, it's still times of more peace. Not total peace, but it's a lot more peaceful. Okay. Now, of course, it may not seem that way. Why? Because the news, what gets shown is, you know, man bites dog kind of thing. Right? So there's famines, there's problems, but compared, I mean, look at World War II. I mean, you know, people love to say, you know, 6 million Jews were killed. It was really a heck of a lot more than that. I think the Russians lost what, 12 million? I mean, some
28 million.
I mean, some, you know, ridiculous number. I mean, a ridiculous number the Russians lost. That's just the Russians. So let's not even talk about the Chinese, you know, what they lost and other groups. So if we look at it, keep things in perspective, it's much, much better. Is it perfect? No. But, you know, and that's without nuclear weapons, right? With nuclear weapons, we can actually wipe out the whole planet.
So the theory's name of Alan Watts is the element of irreducible rascality. So people can go research about it, and he talks about this, and he talks about it he was a theologist, so he talks about how even each religion has this concept in their core as well. So it's interesting. If people are interested, they can go and look at the.
You feel free to tell Anna Watts about Podcasters Unleashed every Monday.
Well, he died, unfortunately.
He's dead. He's been dead for some time. But just
It is
let me
very
jump in
famous.
there, guys. I just
Okay,
want to read
let's-
these comments.
Let's have a seance for the guy. All right,
Sasha
Simon,
said-
yours.
God is universe, everything, technically the entity who created the universe before the creation. That's why so many people believe in spirituality and science like Kabbalah.
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 Kabbalah, thank you. Does anybody believe in aliens?
Me.
Because that will kind of knock the religion out the window unless everybody's referring to the aliens like an
I
alien.
believe in aliens, and I think aliens created
I
us.
actually believe in aliens, but I also believe in a supreme being. But this going on to the next comment. Thomas, we will get there. We will agree. You broke my heart saying that laugh. Okay. Sasha, wait a minute. Human comedy is about the fight between the fallen and the angels. Lucifer verse is God. Fantastic metaphor. Okay. And then we've got Thomas, spread the love. It changes the coldest hearts. Okay. I just want to, so following on from what Nelson said, when we speak about peace, and I love the concept, the only thing I look at is that it's only certain groups of people who were causing problems within the world. It's like the World War. If the Europeans weren't in Africa fighting, then they're just living their life normally. Do you see what I mean? So when we look at periods of time, we always need to try to keep things in perspective. Maybe it's a certain group of people who've got a problem with greed. And nowadays, that's kind of manifested because the world's got a lot smaller. But if you look at history, a lot of people are just cool in a gang. They knew their neighbors, whether they're tribes, clans, and all of that, and they had understanding, or they didn't like each other and they stayed separate. They didn't go over there, he don't come over here, and we were all cool. It's just when the crazy Europeans went everywhere. Obviously, you got Genghis Khan as well. We can't forget him. But then, just talking about Genghis Khan,
Simon, before you go into Khan, Hala, you're nodding your head. What are you going to say?
Yeah, I would just want to comment on what Simon is saying about some people causing problems. I think the word is extremist, and we need actually to define the concept is that extremist knows no religion, and the concept of extremist can be found in any sect and in any religion, and the extremist feels that they have the right to live, and the others who are different, they have the right to die. So we need to pay attention about the extremist people who are in different religion, different sects, that they could lead. They could have greed and they could have power, and they could lead some societies, and they could destroy these societies and people around them.
Okay. That's really
but don't you think it's that religion's leaders' responsibility that if some extremists are using that religion to stop them, to condemn them, to to take them under control? For example, if in Christianity there are some extremists killing other people, like doing terrorist attacks, is the Catholic, if they're Catholic or whatever, or they're using Catholic name, is the Pope's responsibility to acknowledge that kind of a behavior and condemn it and to stop it, so all the other Christians can stand up for what religion is representing, and not allow like Muslims or Judists or other people to think of Christians as like this extremists. I feel like right now some religions leaders are not standing up for what their religion is representing, and allowing some bumbo mambo come and use their name and do so much harm in the world.
Yeah. Well, see, before you-
Crusaders. Sorry, I'm
Carla,
gonna jump in there, Victor.
no,
Crusaders.
see,
That's
wait. Simon, just a minute. Let Carla go. Let Carla go
Right.
before you jump in.
Yeah, what I was going to say to that is when Matilda said that, I think what she said about why can't certain leaders, whether it's political leaders or religious leaders, stand up, because you're making the assumption that because they're in the position of power, that they themselves are not extremists or they themselves don't have an extreme agenda. And I think that's the issue that's often overlooked when you bring that as a solution, Matilda, because the fact is, whichever religion you look at, it founds on the concept of that a human being is not just a physical entity. A human being is also a spiritual entity. And that in the same way that the physical is fed or nurtured or geared in a certain direction, so too is the spiritual aspect of that human. And how the human's spiritual nature is fed is by the control of the physical desires, right? So in Islam, for example, the fasting is about learning to have self-control, partly, but also learning to have a trust in God. It's an act of faith that doesn't just say, if I don't eat, I'm going to die. Because actually we're a bit more complex than that. Yes, if you have a health issue that means that you can't fast, then of course that becomes true that if you don't eat within a certain number of hours, you might die. But for the majority of humans, once they've reached a certain age where they're used to eating all the time, denying themselves of food for a short period of time in order to focus on controlling the physical impulses and building themselves spiritual, i.e. having more self-control, being able to have more focus and all of that kind of stuff, is not going to harm them. And I think with people like religious leaders and well, let's just focus on religious leaders, there's the assumption that they are focused a lot on their spiritual development, but they may not be. They may be doing worse in their spiritual development than the normal people. Right. So I think that's also something we have to point out. In the purpose of religion is about nurturing the spiritual side of you in order to control the physical side, which then makes you a better person.
Yeah.
What I was saying in relation to what Matilda was saying, and I like what you're saying there, Carlos, I didn't look at it from that angle, is that when religious leaders get involved, it's always been violence. And that's why, for instance, they took power from the religious leaders, as we, and even in England, we took power, they took power from the royals and said, all right, we won't behead you, but you just sit over there and we'll run our democracy, our politics, our MPs. But as soon as, if you want the Pope to get involved over another Christian sect, that's what Crusaders was all about. And I'm sure Howla can tell you about that. She did it, the great El Saladin and all the rest of it, and then it all goes pear-shaped. So when you ask for something, we got to be really careful what we're asking for. Because, and it's like trying to stop a pub fight. How do you do that? You ever tried to stop a fight? You got to be willing to get hit. You might have to throw a few punches yourself.
I ran away.
Okay.
Okay.
And I let them kill each other. I'm out.
Simon, no, sorry. Before you read the comments, Carla, can you just Hala, can you just do one what we were about to say?
Yeah, I just want to say something because I've lived in Egypt for 8 years, and when you go to the ancient areas there, you see synagogue and churches, and you see also mosques that are near all these religious areas, and that just shows how people back then were practicing religions in a free way. And there was a pledge and covenant that the prophet made to Christians back then to protect them, protect their churches, protect their area that they worship, and protect their religion, and protect them wherever they are. And when the Arab commander entered Egypt 640 before AD, when he built the mosque near the churches and synagogues, just to show that there is a respectful way for everyone to practice their own religion. And now, unfortunately, now it's the way of people living together. Even there's differences, it starts to be more and more divided. And I'm not talking about also all European countries. I'm talking also about Arab countries. But when you look at the history, and now 21st century, we see like there is a big difference.
Okay, I would like just, so I want to ask just a straight question that cuts off from what we've been saying. With
Yeah.
regards, if say Hala, if you were born in, let me say, if you were born in the US, most likely you'll be a Christian, or you claim. So is it just a sticker, or you know,
Yeah.
because of where we are born? Is it just that? Nelson, are you with me? Is it just that because of where you were born? I know Colombia is the more
The Catholic.
Catholic, you know, and
Conquistadors.
more, yeah. So
Well,
is it where you're born?
Well, first
That
of all, I mean,
defines-
okay, so Victor, before I go to that, it's two things. One is what Carla was talking about is I almost consider that to be almost like the forerunner of democracy, and that was when the early Muslim rulers ruled. Okay, they actually had it wasn't necessarily a separation of church and state, but it was definitely protection of different rights and the right to your own religion under original Muslim rule. Okay, so and I think the term is dhimmi. Dhimmi, that was the original term for it. So there wasn't separation of church and state, but the state did protect different religions. So that was to me I kind of call that the forerunner before the Magna Carta, definitely before the United States, of the beginning of that, where you kind of had this right to practice your own religion under the protection of the state. So that was a very interesting concept. And that concept did come about because of the Muslims. So it was not a Christian concept. It was definitely so it was a definitely very different concept.
Okay.
The other part of the question, Victor, could you ask it again, please? I got so wrapped up in that.
Okay, what I'm saying is, you're born in Colombia. Does that automatically make you a Christian, a Catholic?
Okay. Well, I was not born in Colombia, so that's the first thing.
For example.
But when it comes to religion, most people don't get to choose their religion, right? They are born into it. So, like when you're a Jew, you're a kid, boom, you get that circumcision, the covenant with God with Abraham, and that's it. So before you can even say mama or papa or Abba or anything like that, forget about it. You don't have a choice in the matter. And it's the same pretty much with our religions. It's not like you're 18 years old and you take an oath and not forget about it. So you're programmed into it from the beginning. Most of Latin America is Catholic, period. Followed by
Matilda.
there's a reform. One second. There's a reform movement of Christianity, and then it's other religions, Judaism, and then it's very small Muslim group there as well.
Matilda, do you think this should be? Do you think we should have more choices, or just maintain the status quo?
Do we need more choices? Meaning what?
That is, when you're born. Let's say, for example, you're born in Iraq or in Iran or Armenia. Automatically, you're being labeled as this. Do you think a child, or when you're growing up, you should have more choice? They should allow you to.
Yeah, I think they have to have choice, and I think more than anything, more than any religion that the parents need to teach to their children, I think the parents should teach that child that you're part of the universe and you need a connection to the higher self, to the higher power, to a higher something, because there is something higher there. So I think more than any religious ideology, I think the parents should give that child the spiritual upbringing, because once you're connected to the universe, doesn't matter who you're praying to, the higher self, the higher power, your life is set. You don't need some religion to give you that connection. I think that's
okay. Carla, just from your background, do you think we should allow kids to experience different religion before making their own choice, or what are your thoughts on that?
I wouldn't say we should let them experience, because experience is a very relative word. I would say we should teach them the basic facts, which a lot of countries do. I have to say, in the UK, they do teach you the facts about religions, and the propaganda, that is part of the media. But in school, children are taught about different religions in religious education, or they were when I was a child. And what I think is important is to emphasize to the child the spiritual nature of the human, and also for me, I say, based on my experiences in life, that it is the most fundamental aspect of life, is to decide what you believe. Do you believe in God or not? And if you do, what does that mean for you? What are you going to do as a result of that? And how is that going to affect your value system, the decisions that you make, the way that you cope with the consequences of your decisions, because that's a key thing. So I think it is a very important area, and I think it's sadly very overlooked in a very materialistic, and I don't just mean materialistic as in money, I mean materialistic in the sense of focusing very much on the physical aspect of life. And I think that's to do with the standard of living. You find that more in countries where the standard of living is higher, there's a dismissal of the spiritual. Why? Because there seems to be a solution for everything that you can buy. For example, poor mental health, we get therapy for that. But actually, lots of people have therapy that's not effective. Or like Matilda said earlier, when people have to decide what's right and wrong, how do you decide what's right and wrong in a world where right and wrong is relative? How do you tell a paedophile, for example, that his behavior is not acceptable? What do you use to regulate him? And the example we had at the beginning, him or her, because I know it could also be a female, the example we had at the beginning, which was about cheating. How do you tell someone in a relative world, a world that focuses on just be happy, that it's immoral to cheat, or that it's wrong to cheat? Because that person may be able to come up with a rationalization based on their own way of judging things, that it's okay for them to do that. And that's why I would say that the most important question is to let children explore that, give them the facts, and let them spend time reflecting on that, because it is really important.
Yeah, and I think as adults we should also not be too quick to judge other religion. We should at least try to learn. I, for one, I would say, I'll think of a way to start learning about different religions now, because it seems there's a melting point for all religion, which is kind of love, giving, being charitable, open arms to all humans. So if we try to practice that, I think it may be something cool.
Okay, let me jump in there, read these comments. We've got Sasha, who says, power have no morality. The strongest survive. Morality in religion is just a control system for the masses. We've got Thomas here. Humans are up until 1981 were basket cases. Good is now here, and we keep growing and fighting the good fight every day. All religions, all classes, all creeds now understand that you just have to be nice. He's really shedding the thing of life. Samantha says, nice to have you back here, Samantha. In Christianity, you're not born into it. It's your choice. And then we've got the last one with Paula, where she says, I have faith, but wouldn't say a religion. I believe in God, in love, and believe a good person, but I don't believe in putting fear in people, whatever religion. And that's a very interesting one, because whether we don't want to put fear in people or not, at the end of the day, we know the world is shaped by violent people. It's the man with the biggest stick that usually gets his way. Back to you, Victor.
Yeah, so we'll be rounding up now, and I just want to ask one last question, and this is direct. Who here practices, when I mean practice, daily practice your religion?
I would say I don't go to church, but I try to be good to children.
You're not trying to be good to me.
And hey, Simon,
So are you religious? Are you
and-
considering yourself religious?
Children, I have patience. I try to have patience for
and
adults.
and
Jesus,
Simon,
boy.
Simon, at the end of that, are you also gonna say that you don't kick dogs? I mean,
Well, they bite. Those little jackals.
Uh-huh. so the
What
dogs
kind of a
don't
religion is
don't
that?
get it either.
Christian religion?
Excuse me?
No,
What kind of a religion is that?
No, it's not about the religion. What I'm talking about, like what I said earlier on a serious note, is about your behavior. So
Practicing elements.
I try to be, sorry, Nelson, I try to want to leave, if I leave someone's presence, make them feel happy that I was there or they know me, they knew me, or I give them something. But obviously, just like a drunkard who's trying to recover, you fall off the wagon at times and people get a bitter taste when they met you. And then you have to go back and say, sorry, I'm sorry about that kind of thing. But you keep on trying is the main thing. And I think, like I spoke to that guy in the car, I said the basic of any belief system, in my eyes, for if someone's trying to portray their belief system, is always, you never give up. You're always trying to improve yourself. And that's the difference between what we would determine as a sinner and a Christian or a Muslim and a haram person. In that respect, that you can see this person's actively trying to do better, and I think that's the difference. And we all try and do better in our own ways. Back to you, Victor.
yeah. What about you, Hala? Are you trying to be better every day?
Yes, I
As-
do practice my religion, and I do learn every day about the religion, because also when I practice yoga and meditation, I try to incorporate this habit with also my prayers, because I feel it's the same practice too, and also meditation, which is helped me to have this kind of peace and to reflect on what I on my actions and what I need to improve in my daily life. So yes, I mean. Practicing religion won't make you a bad person. It will make you someone who could connect with yourself, and you have this kind of intimate, like you have this relationship with the ultimate creature, and it's something that is private for you, that you could go to someone when you have bad experiences, and when you have when you endure some really really hard situations in your life, when you find nobody. The only thing that I find is God and my prayers to have this faith. And faith, it's not the only thing. Faith won't make it easier, but it will make it more possible for you to pass that hard situation that you are going through.
All right. Matilda, do you get the excitement of the evil thoughts that is being?
And just a quick comment.
It's exciting. That's the beauty of humans,
Thomas-
There's always positive and negative parts in each human, and that's beautiful as well.
Yeah, Thomas
let's
says
get this
all
done.
day, every day. Thomas is stating he's all day. And big love for the podcasters. I have a gym session. Speak again soon. Yes, Thomas. Lots of love, lots of friends.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas.
Actually, if you think
Well-
about it, Thomas is doing something to make himself better by heading off to the gym session. So that is a way of taking care of yourself, exercising your faith.
All right. So thank you, Paula. Thank you, Thomas. Yeah, thank you, Sasha. Samantha, thank you very much. Thank you to all of you guys who are interacting between yourself. Yeah, we really, really appreciate your presence today and giving us your time. And we, Podcasters Unleashed, we are really, really grateful for your contribution so far. So just on the last row, can we just tell our audience again, introduce our podcast again, and where they can find us? Again, starting from you, Matilda.
Before that, I want to say, George, you're late today. You didn't even show up today. So what's up, honey? I know you're going to see the replay. but we would have loved to have you here to say your part as well. Well, my podcast is Coffee with Matilda Journey to Self, and you can find it in all podcast platforms, YouTube and Facebook. To you, Kamala.
So my podcast is Women with Stories podcast. Tune in for a new episode next week. You can find on Spotify on all other podcast platforms. Over to you, Simon.
Hi, I'm Simon. My podcast is Taxi Chronicles, as shown down below. And we publish every day at 8 a.m. If you want to hear a short, interesting story about someone's real journey of life, whether it's career, crime, or just heartache or whatever, listen to the show. Over to you, Nelson.
Hey, and good afternoon or good morning, everyone. My name is Nelson De Zambrano. I am the host of Investing in America, where we talk about how to invest in the United States, specifically U.S. real estate. And I also leave a quarter of all the episodes, of all the seasons, excuse me, where I interview people that have, topics that have to do with also high performance as well. So over to you, Carla.
My podcast is the Wonder and Wellbeing podcast, which is a podcast for parents and educators, and you can find it everywhere that you find podcasts. Back to you, Victor.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, I am, I'm Victor Osio. I am the host of the Diaspora Entrepreneurs Podcast. You can find me on Spotify, iTunes, and on YouTube. So go check me out as well. Yeah.
Also, 1 second. We got something that just came in. It came in from our overseas correspondent in the Middle East. She's on the undercover for Al Jazeera. She says we are also live on Twitter as well. She also has a contract with Colgate because she's got that incredible smile that she's showing off. So we also have something on Twitter. We're also live. Back to you, Victor.
Yeah. So if you also hang out on Twitter, you can find us there and just keep this conversation going. Yeah, this is not the end. Let's have this. Let's actually speak about religion cautiously and know the difference and how we can actually meet each other somewhere in our daily living and practice good without the sprinkling of some evil excitement inside. Yeah. So on this note, I'll say goodbye to you guys, and we'll see you guys next week, Monday, same time, 8 p.m. West African time, 7 p.m. UK Standard Time. I think 8 p.m. in Paris, 2 p.m. East Coast. Am I right? Or am I right? Yes, I'm right. Yeah. So we'll see you guys next week for another wonderful episode of Podcasters Unleashed. So from us, we say bye-bye now.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Take care, guys.